She said, happy Friday to all in the chat. We're going to get going momentarily, probably within about 2 minutes. So thanks for your patience, everyone. So some names look familiar. It looks like you've been here before. I'm glad to see you back. Thank you for that. I'm happy it's a Friday too. Not that I have any plans for the weekend other than staying at home and social distancing, but I'm hoping I can tackle one of my long problems that I've been wanting to, and that is my closet.
Oh, really? Are you going to try?
I'm going to try. I've been trying for like 2 months saying I'm going to get to the closet. I'm going to get to the closet. I got to the pantry and organized that, but that's about as far as it's gotten. It's one of those projects that I think I'm making more out of it than I need to. Once I get it done, I think it's like, why did I wait so long? It didn't take me that long, but I envision it taking me all day. So, yeah.
Well, if you're anything like me, you have to try everything on.
Yeah.
Before you get rid of it, right?
Well, since I have the COVID-20 going on, I doubt that I'll be trying anything on. It's like the, yeah, I'm worried about that. All right, we're going to get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome to our final of this week, which is hiring the right team member. For those of you that are new to my webinars, welcome. I've been in dentistry for over 38 years. I've been doing consulting for over 20, and really enjoy it. I've enjoyed this time of doing the webinars with everyone because I feel like there's a lot of misinformation out there and wrongly disseminated information, in my humble opinion. And I'm not saying I'm the one all be all, but I am saying that I try to just shoot straight with people. If I don't know an answer, I'm going to tell you I don't know it. If I do know it, I'm going to share my knowledge with you. You know, anyone that I've had on, I've really expressed to them no sales. Just kind of deliver your facts, and you know, if people want to get a hold of you, they will. And that's been my philosophy as well. I have asked people, because I'm really looking to get my social medias up, but I have asked people, would you please subscribe to the YouTube channel and, you know, follow us on Facebook and Instagram. Those are some things that if you want to pay it forward, that would be a great thing for me. So thanks. The YouTube channel, once you get to 100 subscribers or more, they give you your own handle. So it would be like YouTube at Jean St. Louis Consulting. Instead, now I have to give this long, you know, 50,000 characters to get someone to log in. So anyway, that's just fun thing. And feel free to ask any of your family or friends to do the same. They won't be nagged and you don't have to pay anything. So today, how to hire the right team member. We're going to talk about how to recruit employees and keep them, what are employees looking for in an employer, probationary periods, performance reviews, and performance improvement plans. So one of the things that I have been hearing week after week now, and you know, depending upon what state you're in, it's becoming more and more prevalent. And that is that people are saying, I'm not ready to come back to work. And the dentist is saying, I am ready. I'm sorry, this is clicking ahead on me. I don't know what's happening. Trying to move my picture out of the way. There we go. Okay, so one of the things that I'm seeing happen over and over is that, like I said, people are saying they are just getting staff members that are saying to them, I'm not ready to come back. And the dentist is saying, well, I'm ready to start back up. Now, I understand you're uncomfortable, but you know, I'll start slow. I'll work with you. You know, I just hung up right before this meeting with a client who said, you know, he's really, you know, frustrated, if you will, because all of his hygienists are coming back except one. And he's heard that she's taken 1 day at the office that she works at part-time, and 4 days she's at his office, and keeps saying to him, I'm not ready to come back for the 4 days. So I put up this slide because I want you to see there are many, 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 many people, as we know, unemployed. So I also, in the last 3 weeks, have been working with dentists on my clients on placing ads and doing interviews and all of that. And I'm telling you that the market is out there, that they're getting inundated with resumes. So I don't know if it's that the employees that are leaving the employers because they felt like maybe the employer didn't handle the COVID situation the right way. If they're feeling like they're making more on unemployment and they don't want to have to go back and lose it, but they can't kind of have the best of both worlds. In other words, you can't say, I don't want to come back. And then the doctor's opening and the doctor's saying, well, like, I need to know if you're coming back, because if you're not, I need to get someone else, right? You can't like hold the job forever. However, when you have, qualified employees that have been with you for a while, of course you want to work with them. You don't want to not work with them, but you also kind of need to, something needs to give. We need to start, moving forward if in fact that's where your comfort level is. So my position isn't, hey, open even though your state isn't open. That's not my position. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is you need to do what's best for you and your staff, but realize that you don't have to be held hostage by it. There are a lot of people out there looking for jobs. And it's interesting. So, in one case, you have someone saying, I'm not going to go back to work because for whatever reason, you name it, not necessarily, I have a child or a parent that I live with who's immune compromised, not that, but I'm just not coming back. And then that same person is then going out and getting a job from someone else or just staying at home and not choosing to work. So really interesting scenario in this climate going on. So now the next thing that I want to kind of discuss is really, I believe that in order for you to kind of embrace hiring someone new, you have to be really clear. And if you've been on my webinars in the past, I've addressed this on some that it was made sense to address it. You have to be very clear on your own vision. I think the vision of your practice and where you want to go is the picture of your future. What does it look like? And it clarifies your reason for what you do, why you love doing dentistry, why you love treating patients. What do you love about, being an owner? Now, right now, some of you are probably sitting there and going, not much these days. But the reality of it is that I know that there, just to ease your mind, for those of you that haven't gotten back to the workforce yet, you're kind of, your state is mandating, your county is mandating, whatever. I'm here to tell you, I've had conversations with people in Colorado, Utah, Kansas, Texas, and those people have been open 2-3 weeks. And so if you're not open, I'm here to kind of ease you and let you know the first week, by all accounts, by clients that I deal with, are saying it was kind of hell. It was really tough. People were getting used to their PPE. They were kind of moaning a lot and, kind of griping about this and griping about that. And, think about it. We haven't been in the workplace for 10 weeks or so. So yeah, you're out of the sync of what it looks like and how we're doing this. And now we have a slower schedule, so you've got staff that's kind of saying, oh my God, like, come on, let's get over with this day. We only saw 5 patients because we're being mindful about how we're scheduling and we're kind of doing that soft opening that first week. Well, I'm here to tell you that by week 3, those same people that I was talking and pulling them off the ledge and saying, it's going to be okay, are now saying to me, you were right. Wow, week 3, I'm not hearing any griping from the staff. We're okay. My glasses do get fogged up and, but I'm working through it. Like, it's cool. And patients are coming back and people are scheduling for hygiene and people are having dentistry done. So please, if you're not open to all those things that are keeping you up at night, realize, based on many, many people in the industry that have been open 3 weeks, this is what I'm hearing. Week 1 is hell week. Week 2 is like, okay, we're kind of getting to the new norm. By week 3, we're good. Usually most of them are doing week 1, soft, kind of slower opening, no hygiene per se. Week 2, hygiene, better opening, of course, social distancing, spacing the patients out and whatnot. So anyway, I wanted to say that because of the direction defines the practice. Right now, you're kind of saying, I don't know my direction. How does that work? The other thing, and I can't express this enough, is while you're sharing your vision, it's important. I can't tell you how many staff I've gotten emails from and people saying, I don't know, I want to go back. My doctor hasn't, I don't know what we're doing. He furloughed us and he hasn't talked to us since. She put us on, she terminated us and she hasn't talked to us since. So I'm looking for another job. And I'm like, well, hold on. Granted, these aren't my clients. They're, people that are calling and emailing me from webinars and things of that nature. But my point is that please share the direction with your team, what you're doing, what you've ordered, where you're at, what's your intention, how does the practice look, that you're going to do training and all of that. And when we look at the vision, it needs to be understood by all. So this is a great time. Go back to your practices. If you haven't written your vision, go back to the practice. When you go back, have a vision. If you don't have one, rewrite it. If you have one, rewrite it, tweak it. If you don't have one, write it. And by all means, share your vision with the team, because I know and you know that your vision hasn't likely, excuse me, likely your vision of what your purpose is and what you see your future's picture like hasn't really changed. So, okay, let's talk about the fundamentals of success. If we have the vision in place, and now I know some of you are freaking out and saying, did I mess up? Isn't this about hiring your staff? Yes, it is. But in order to hire your staff and to get the right team and to build that dream team, I know I've been doing this long enough that you have to view those relationships that they are absolutely built on trust and appreciation. And I would even say this in your own personal life. Think about your significant other, your spouse, your kids. If you're not building those relationships on trust and appreciation, the rest goes down the tubes. You don't have a fighting chance. So what I'm saying is, you're the CEO, you're the leader. Right now, I can tell you, the doctors who are really leading and the staff is on board and they're right in the boat rowing with them are the ones that have stepped up to the plate, that have taken a leadership role, that have communicated with their team, that have said, hey guys, it's going to be all right. Team and people around you are looking for, it's going to be okay. We're going to get through this. Does it suck? Yes, it's horrible. This is a worldwide pandemic. It is absolutely scary as all get up. We're all scared. Of course we are. But let's remember, we all got into the dental profession knowing full well we were going to be dealing with people. We're not doctors on the front line. We're not nurses on the front line. We are not walking into our offices with patients coming in and saying, I'm COVID sick, you got to help me. No, we're walking into the offices saying what we've always said. This patient is likely COVID positive. I have to operate as if they are. Now I'll take their temp and I'll do all the screening that the ADA has said, but for our entire careers, we have operated this way. So I think with the hype of all these, again, misinformation being spewed out there and posts and blogs and Facebook groups and people reading. I mean, I read all of it because I want to hear what people are saying so that I can be better at delivering messages to you. I spend hours on it, and believe me, I'm not an hours on it kind of girl that wants to sit around and do that all evening, but I do it because it gives me insight as to the mindset of what's out there and what they're spewing and what they're saying. And believe you me, I'm not here to say COVID is a farce or we shouldn't be doing what we're doing. I absolutely believe we should, but we are in the dental profession. People are safer, I truly believe this, coming to us than they are going to the grocery stores. They're going out to the grocery stores sometimes without masks. They're cross-contaminating. We know that we're doing a great job. So when we're talking about great practices and appreciating and understanding, we need to understand and value every patient of the practice. That's a must. And every interaction becomes relationship built and service driven. So I see that it absolutely begins with the vision and then leadership. How you are responding during this COVID pandemic indicates the kind of leader you can be and should be. If you haven't done it up to this point, Friday's a good day. Might as well start today. Reach out to your staff, send them a pizza to their home, deliver them something, give them a gift card for groceries, whatever it takes. Be a good leader. Let them know what you've ordered in PPE. Let them know what the training's going to look like. As you ramp up that first week, do it slowly. Have training a couple of days, then have patients scheduled. Then the next week go a little bit more, and the next week full blow. Take ownership of the results and make sure you're sharing it, obviously, with the entire team. So now let's talk about what makes a good versus a great practice. We all know that there's similarities with all practices. If I asked everyone on the line, hey, how are you guys doing with your clinical skills and the environment in your office and the systems? Most of you have all of those down. You've got your clinical skills down. That's why in week 1, when people were getting on a bunch of free clinical, I was like, darn it, these dentists need to understand and these staff need to understand they need to focus on their business systems. Your clinical skills, you've got that. It's nice to get a refresher or a free course here or there, but I was really, really worried about what was going to happen with the business end. And so we all know that there's similarities in practices that are good. It's what takes them to great that makes a difference. What is the barrier that makes a practice go from good to great? And I think those barriers, or what makes a practice go from good to great, is the ones that are living the doctor's vision every day. They get it. They understand it. They know what their mission is. They know that it's so important that the patient and the nucleus of the practice is the patient, and that the practice is a centered practice around that patient. And so when we do that, we wouldn't think twice about not communicating to our patients during COVID. We would do that. We would communicate with our team. So you could be asking yourselves now, how do I get there when I don't know where there is? I don't know. I understand what you're saying, Jean, about a vision. I understand what you're saying about like going from good to great, but I'm not 100% sure how I'm going to get there because I don't even know if I know what that is. So let's go over that. The first and foremost, then the one thing that I can tell you, and I've been a huge proponent of, if you've ever been at my live seminars or at any of the state meetings or dental societies that I lecture at, you'll hear, I always have a slide. It's the second slide in my deck, no matter what I'm speaking on. I always put up a slide by, it's on attitude. And it is a great slide. And what I like about it is it talks that attitude can make or break a company, a church, a home. And it's our attitude that we have to embrace the day that we're going to have. And, when I go into a practice, I give them this laminated and I ask them to put it up. So everyone's in check with their attitude. When my kids were younger, I would have it on the refrigerator because I said, hey, everything is about attitude. And it's so funny. I'd come home after a long day at, an office, and I'd put down my briefcase and I'd have a bad attitude. And, from the mouths of babes, right? They'd say, Mom, look at the fridge. Like, your attitude is terrible. And they were right. I came in crabby right off the bat. So how things look with the right attitude. With a good attitude, it's like that fresh, crisp apple that you love. With a bad attitude, it's the rotten apple. Some of you right now have rotten apples in your practice, and you've had them for years. I'm not here to tell you, hey, fire them. But what I'm saying is, if they're kind of giving you noise and they're not sure they're going to come back and they're not, blah, 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 you might want to say, hey, if you need to, if you're giving me a resignation, I'll accept it. I understand you need to do what you need to do, but I hope you understand I need to do what I need to do. Don't fire them. This is not the time to fire because, not the time. Attitude is everything. To me, attitude is everything. And sometimes we need visual reminders about attitude. And that Charles Swindoll saying on attitude is the best one I've ever seen. I love the graphics of this one because I think it's perfect. but I think attitude is everything. So sometimes when you're looking at hiring a team member, you have to say to yourself, okay, this person has a great attitude, and I'm more willing to have a great attitude than basically, I've been doing this for 25 years. I'm the best there is. You're going to pay me the top money. I'm the best office manager. I'm the best RDA. I'm the best DA. I'm the best hygienist you're ever going to find. I'd rather almost have someone say, you know what? They have a good will do attitude instead of I can do attitude. So a will do attitude is, I know this, but I'm willing to work. And if you're willing to give me some time, I'm willing to learn better and get better at it, versus I can do the best. I'm the best. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. I can do this. But then they have a bad attitude. So let's look at the steps in the hiring process. There's lots of steps in the hiring process. The first is that you have to write a job description. Before you even place the ad, we need to know, what does that look like? What does that person need to be doing for you? Then you need to do the advertising. Then you need to screen the resumes. Then you need your initial contact, then telephone screening. Then voila, I get to interview them in person or Zoom meeting. And then testing the applicants, background checks, checking references, and an offer letter. So let's go through those steps. The first is, where should you start? You need to start with the job description. And that job description needs to include the position title. Now, I'm not a big proponent of hiring office managers. So it's so ironic. I talk to dentists and staff all the time. I look at a lot of resumes. I interview a lot of people. And what I see is, I was an office manager, and I go, oh, okay, great. What exactly did you do? Well, I checked patients out, and I made sure the doctor's schedule would fill, and I collected money, and I did the insurance. And I say, okay, well, how many employees did you manage? Well, there was the dental assistant and the hygienist and the doctor and me. Okay, that's not, and then my next question is, oh, did you do the accounts payables? Did you pay the bills? Did you get everything ready for the accountant? Oh, well, no, I didn't do that. Oh, okay. So what I'm saying is, a lot of times doctors say, I need an office manager. I'm going to hire an office manager. I go, okay, what are they going to do? What's their title? You're giving them this title. When you give someone the title office manager, you basically better have people for them to manage, because there's two kinds of office managers. One that's an office manager that's in a small office, 2 assistants, 2 hygienists, the doctor, and myself, 1 person at the desk, that being the office manager. And that person is generally going to have really moved up in the ranks and probably became the office manager in the office. And then you have office managers that are applying for jobs that are saying they're office managers, but when you truly get down to the nitty gritty, what did you do? Because their resume is glorified what they did. I ran the recall department. Okay, great. What does that mean? Like, tell me exactly. Walk me through, what does that mean? So again, the position title is important. I typically say, if you're hiring 1 person at the front desk, she's the business coordinator. She's doing all those positions. The hire, not the managing, but she's doing the checking in and checking out patients, the insurance, the billing, the recall, the filling the doctor's schedule, all the duties that a receptionist at the front office would do. If you want to give her a title, her title is business coordinator. Once you have more than that, you would break that role when you hire employee number 2. You can't hire employee number 2 and say, well, you're just going to help the business coordinator, Mary, at the front desk. She then becomes either the patient coordinator, the scheduling coordinator, the financial coordinator. You divide those roles into 2 people. You cannot have 2 people at the front desk. And I go into offices all the time, as does Liz Sanchez, who's on the line, who's a consultant with me. We go into offices all the time. And when I say, oh, okay, ladies, you 2 ladies at the desk, who does what? Oh, we both do everything. Oh, okay. So if the doctor has a problem because his schedule or her schedule has openings in it, who's responsible for that? Oh, we both are. So you can see where I'm going. You have to have clear job descriptions. The title is insignificant. Once you start saying office manager, you're looking at a much higher wage. Now, I'm not saying, I too was an office manager. I'm not saying that you should never have an office manager. I'm saying that sometimes you say you need one when really what you need is a business coordinator. Who do they report to? What is the summary of their position? Who are they? What are they doing? What are the specific duties? So the summary of their position is broad. Their specific duties and responsibilities are more detailed. And then minimum education or training needed. How much do you want them to, what education do you expect them to have? If you are hiring one person at the front desk, my advice to you is to not hire somebody without any dental experience, because that person, there's too much responsibility. A typical practice is anywhere from $500,000 to $1 million. You're hiring someone with no dental experience to be responsible for $500,000 or $1 million of your money. Doesn't make sense. Will you get them cheaper? Of course you will. You're going to be penny wise and pound foolish. The next one, and continued with the job description, is what minimum experience do you expect them to have? Minimum 3 to 5 years, 2 to 7, whatever it is. What are the skills they need? Now, if you say, EagleSoft experience of must, well, you just limited your pot. So you could have had a really great candidate who has Dentrex or open dental experience, but they just don't know EagleSoft, or maybe they worked on EagleSoft years ago, but they read that and it says EagleSoft a must. I guess I won't even look. I won't even apply. So skills needed needs to be, what are the skills that you want them to have? So you could say something like EagleSoft a plus, dental practice management software mandatory, EagleSoft experience a plus. Personality characteristics. What do you want in that person? Well, one thing I would want is I'd want a good attitude. I'd want someone with a positive, good attitude, great energy. I don't want someone sitting up at the front like this. I don't want an introverted dental assistant that when I leave the room, she leaves the room because she doesn't want to talk to the patients. So their personal characteristics help you to determine what is this role. For instance, hiring someone at the front desk that's introverted as the primary person would not be a good idea. However, hiring somebody at the front desk as a third person, because you have two others and you want someone to do the insurance, that's a perfect role. An introverted person that's going to be on the phone, calling and verifying and checking on claims, great role for that. So just because they're introverted doesn't mean they don't belong in a dental practice. It just means there's different roles. I love the book From Good to Great by Jim Collins. And that book talks about having people on the right seat in the bus. So what I'm saying is, yes, their personality characteristics play a role in where we might put them on the bus. Obviously, you want to say the days and the hours of employment, and then you want to say either full benefits package or, benefits and vacation, whatever you're offering. Most dental offices definitely give vacation, and just a good rule of thumb, not by the book, but a good rule of thumb, 1 week after 1 year, 3 weeks after 2 years, or 2 weeks after 3 years, and 3 weeks after 5 years. So again, just a good rule of thumb. Holidays. Your birthday isn't a holiday. It's a holiday to you and your mother because she gave birth to you, but it's not a holiday. It's not a national holiday. So holidays, yes, usually 6 to 7. I've seen on the far end 8, 9, kind of a lot. Insurance, most practices are not, depending upon the practice size, they may give allowance for an insurance. Make sure federal law got passed, 2, 3 years ago now, 3.5, in regards to insurance. It used to be that dental offices would say, I'll give you $100 towards your premium per month, or $150 towards your premium. And what you would find is that what happened is the federal government passed a law that basically said you can't give that money after tax. It has to be before taxes. In other words, taxes have to be taken out of it. So that's important. I will answer questions at the end just so you're aware. Okay, so next I want to talk about, for some reason my advancer on my computer isn't working, and then sometimes it does. Sorry about that. So next, the thing that we would be doing is writing the ad. So dental applicants have certain criteria that they seek. This is a fact. I mean, you can read dental products for, dental economics. There's lots of articles on what employees seek. We know that a lot of times, not all times, an employee will jump ship for 50 cents more an hour to go down the street. They're also going to jump ship if they're not respected. You have to treat your staff like you would anyone else that you would respect. And the staff needs to respect you. So the first thing we know is they seek generally the salary, then the benefits, then the location, then the hours, then the title of the position. So benefits are really important to staff. They will leave or accept a job with a lower salary if it has better benefits. So be mindful of that. So I've given you a sample ad here. Dental business coordinator. When you're advertising, always, so in the ads, if you say receptionist, that's going to be kind of, a lot of them are well, unless you're in Indeed or Craigslist, but some of them are going to be, alphabetical. So dental business coordinator, dental front office, dental don't, unless you're looking for an office manager, dental assistant, RDA, dental assistant, RDA requirement. And then next to that, in bold, after you give the title, give the salary range. Give the low end of your salary range to the high end. Why? Because if I'm looking for a job and I'm coming across the ads, I don't have to read the whole ad. I want to catch their eye. Oh, 42.3 to 51.2. I make 46 now. That's my range. I'm gonna read on. So seeking individual with great attitude, energetic, with excellent people skills, must have minimum of 3+ years front office experience, excellent benefit package, email confidential resume and cover letter to, and then your email. So not your email as in Jean@GSTL Consulting. It would be, in this case, jobs@GSTL Consulting, jobs@ABC Dental Care. Why? Because what happens is the minute you put, and you can do it at Gmail, you can make up a Gmail account and say jobs@gmail.com. The reality of it is that if you put the name of your business, sometimes what they will do is they're smart cookies. They get online, they look up where you're at, and they call your office. Even though we said email confidential resume and cover letter to, they will call. Hi, I'm calling for the job. Well, if you're replacing someone, you don't want them calling the office, number one. And number two, you don't want your lines being tied up from people calling, asking a bunch of questions about the job that the person at the front desk probably doesn't have the knowledge of. So that's important. The other thing is, if they don't have a resume, you really don't want them. They're kind of probably the bottom of the barrel. If they don't have a resume, you probably don't want them. Now, you could be in a geographic area where you're just not going to have people with resumes. That's a different story. But even within that area, you will find that most people will have a resume. So what's next after you get that ad written? Now you've got to decide where you're going to advertise. So let's go through. You've got Indeed jobs, Glassdoor, LinkedIn job search. You can put something on there. Career Builder, Google for jobs. You got Monster, ZipRecruiter, Simply Hired. The other sources that you have are your supply reps, educational institutions, professional associations, or just plain simple word of mouth. So you've got lots of options to where to explore to get them. I will tell you that the doctors that tell me, well, I put a word out to my supply reps, but no one has anyone. I say, okay, that's all you did? Well, you got to spend some money and get an ad out there. It may make sense. We're seeing a lot of good responses from Indeed. We're seeing a lot of good responses from Craigslist. Better, I feel, from Indeed than Craigslist. Keep in mind, if you're doing Craigslist, when you post the ad, as more ads come, it pushes yours down. So you might need to update a little bit of information so it moves back to the top. Okay, now you've placed the ad. Now I want you to pay attention. This is going to be a little tricky for some of you, might not follow, so just pay attention. My recommendation is that you go ahead and on your computer, you make 3 folders. and you have one that says yes, or in your email, if you want to do it in your email, that's fine. You have one that says yes, one that says no, and one that says maybe. When you go and you've got a list of resumes, you've got all these resumes, and you say, okay, I'm going through, and you make your piles, right? Yes, no, maybe. If you're not a printer of paper, when you read it, put it in the no folder, put it in the maybe. Either way, you're still going to do that. When you then have your yeses, before you even do that, you're going to make 3 email templates on Word. One's going to be for the people that you say are good, you want to go further with them. One's going to be for the one that says, no, they're not qualified, they didn't follow the directions in the ad. The other is for your maybes. So make 3 email templates. Make this easy on yourself. Trust me. Trust me when I tell you there are about, like I had a doctor last week who placed an ad. She got 50 resumes. You know, there are people out there looking for jobs. Trust me, they are. So make it easy on yourself. Don't get so inundated and overwhelmed. So your yeses, you want to email them that, dear Jean, thank you so much for applying. The next, congratulations, you made it to the next step in the interview process. The next step is a telephone interview. If it's an RDA, please provide me your RDA license and let me know what time is a good time to set up an interview. I like doing a personality profile. In addition to that, attached is our personality profile. Kindly complete that and let me know when is a good time for a phone interview. Blind CC yourself on that interview, on that email. So you'll get a copy of it and throw that into your yes bucket. Now you don't have to go through your sense to see who did I send to. I thought I responded to that girl. Now she applied again. Like, did I or did I not? Just put it into that yes bucket in your email and you'll see, oh, yep, I did. Or better yet, you'll see out of all the 15 yeses that I sent to, only 5 responded to me. Well, now that yes may turn into a no because she's not even responsive. She's searching for a job and she's not answering her emails. The other thing you may want to do is reach out, with a call. If you've gotten no response, but you're really psyched about this one, reach out, leave a voice message as well. Then you're going to set up a 10 to 15 minute phone interview. This is where you're going to talk with them, find out a little bit more about them. You're going to really get into a little bit, hey, I noticed that you said that you really are in charge of implementing the recall system. Tell me what you do. What exactly do you do? So people in resumes, they over embellish, right? They're like, I did it all. Well, if you did it all, you should be able to explain it all. So in other words, I was in charge of billing and the accounts receivable and insurance. Great. Oh, that's wonderful. So tell me about what was your system for accounts receivable? Well, we would just send out statements once a month. Okay, well, did you call on the statements or, well, no, not really. We just wait till they paid us. Okay, well, that's your system. Okay, or if they were to say, I had a recall system, well, what did you do? Well, we have revenue well, and I hit the button and it sends everyone a blast that says that they're due. And then we wait for them to call. And then, the next month I hit the button and send it out. Okay, well, that's not a recall system. So the other thing is if I'm really good at collections, I collect 100% every month. Wonderful. What was your total accounts receivable that was owed to the practice? Do you know? Just a guesstimate. A good rule of thumb is if they're producing 100,000 a month, they should be collecting 98% of that. Your AR wouldn't be more than 1 month of production. So then you're going to email the no's. You're going to thank them. Thanks very much. And then your maybes, you are going to kind of hang on to a little bit and you're going to go with your maybes after you go through all your yeses. Now we're at the stage where they're either on a Zoom meeting like this or a face-to-face. So if you're going to do a face-to-face, you can socially distance. I have doctors doing it. They've been doing it for the last 3 weeks. So again, you're going to eliminate all the yeses that didn't respond to your email or your phone call. When they come in, you're going to give them if they haven't done the personality test, you're going to give them the personality test. I would encourage you to give them a math test if they're applying for the front desk. I would encourage you, if it's a dental assistant and she's saying she's an RDA, nothing wrong with throwing out some instruments and saying, do you know the names of these instruments and what they would be used for? So that might be a 15 to 20-minute interview. In that interview, I would urge you to, obviously, if they have not filled out an employment application, get them to fill out an employment application and ask them in the interview, ask them situational questions. So I might say something like this. Julie, I know you've only have 2 years of dental experience. I know you're applying for the business coordinator position and you met our criteria. Let me ask you, if you had a patient and let's say they came in and I was running late and I was about 15 minutes late, how would you handle that with that patient? So you're giving them situations to see how they respond. Are they quick on their feet, or are they going to throw another monkey on your back and say, well, doctor, I would go back to you and I would tell you that, you're running 15 minutes late and they're in the waiting room and they're getting antsy and da, da, da. Well, you don't need to have someone that's going to throw another monkey on your back. You want to have someone that thinks on their feet. Well, I would offer them water or whatever, and I would let them know that if they wanted to go walk through the mall, I could give them a call. We're only, whatever. I would give them the offer to reschedule. So you want them to see how they're going to handle situational. The other thing, what if you had a patient that came up and you had told them that their copayment was X and they didn't bring it? How would you handle that? So those are situational questions. When you're interviewing the applicant, this is not an HR webinar. There are great HR companies out there. HR for Health is one of them that I personally use. I recommend them to clients. They're awesome. But you cannot inquire about the applicant's race, religion, sex, national, none of that you can't ask. You can ask about their previous job. Tell me about your previous job. I noticed that you said you worked with Dr. Shaw. Tell me what you liked about, whoops. Now look at I'm telling you, my clicker is going crazy on me. Okay, what did you like about Dr. Shaw? What didn't you like? What was your favorite thing about the practice? What was your least favorite thing about the practice? What's your favorite thing about being in dentistry? Every single person, when you ask that, is going to say, well, I love working with people. And guess what? Don't ask that question. That's an opening question, right? Excuse me. What do I mean by that? When you're sitting down to do an interview, you might need to get your wiggles and jiggles out. You might be a little bit, okay, well, I'm newer at this or what have you. So it's a good conversation breaking the ice. So tell me, what got you into dentistry? Why'd you like, so that's just a big broad thing, but we want to get to the nitty gritty. So specifically about those resumes, tell me, what did you love about your previous job? What didn't you? What are your expectations in a new job? The interesting question now that you're going to hear, and I've done them because I've done resumes and interviews as has Elizabeth, is, I just felt like with the whole COVID thing, my dentist, she or he, like, I don't know what's going on. They terminated us, but they haven't called us back. We don't know what's happening. And I literally said to them, well, have you reached out to your dentist? No, I just think it's time that I move on. I felt like I really wasn't growing in that practice. And so you're hearing, you're hearing a lot. I'm hearing a lot of what has taken place in this 8-10 week period has kind of left people with a good taste in their mouth or a bad taste in their mouth about their employer. So I think it's really important to say, what are your expectations? The other thing I think that's really important to say is, do you mind if I share with you what I did while I was off for these 10 weeks? Let me tell you. Well, I've ordered, KN95s or 95s. I got surgical 3s. I put up a sneeze guard. What did you do? I tried to get the team ready, and this is what I was working on. They need to hear, did you just sit back and kind of go to webinars every day, or, what did you do? So it's important that you ask questions and also offer what you've done. Then I like the 4-hour working interview. I like to see If it's an assistant, have them observe, see their personality, see a little bit about their work ethic. How much of a team player are they? Hygienist, have them maybe clean a team member's teeth. Admin, have them verify insurance or follow up on insurance claims. On an independent contract, on a working interview, up to $660 or $620, you can pay someone without having them be on your payroll. Check your own state guidelines. So don't come back at me and say, you told me, and then I got in trouble. But you can check with your accountant and pay them just a straight, no taxes taken out, $13 to $18. They're coming in, they're getting to see the practice. You could do 8 hours if you want. You could do 4 hours, whatever you want, but you're getting a feel for them. One of the things that we see when we do working interviews is there's guidelines that you cannot ask employees that are applying to your company, your practice. But it doesn't mean that they're not going to share. Like, for instance, I had one practice, they had a working interview, a dental assistant. She had told the doctor that, she had a couple of kids, just volunteered it. He didn't ask. And turns out that she had 6 kids. Not that you would not hire her because she had 6 kids. You're not going to discriminate, but there was some concerns in regards to, well, how is that all going to shake out? So there's certain questions you can't say to them, well, do you have someone that watches your kid? What's your plan A? What's your plan B? You can't ask all of that during an interview. So I like the working interviews. References. So the next step is really kind of focusing in on what are the references that we have? What references are you using? How would you do a working interview in a startup is Sarah's question. Well, Sarah, I think that's a great question. And what I usually recommend is there are no patients initially in your startup, of course, and we deal with startups all the time. I recommend that initially you have them come in, you go through some exercises with them. If it's a front desk person, hey, you mentioned Dentrex, I'd like you to go ahead and enter in a mock patient. Let's go ahead and role play how you would handle a new patient calling in to book an appointment. If it's a dental assistant, obviously her skill set, you have to, and this is the next step, Sarah, which led right into that. Thanks for tipping me off here, but checking their references. You've got to verify their employment. Where were they at? What was their position? What were their duties? Would you rehire that applicant? You can say, would you care to share anything else? You can ask that question. If they know the law, and you as an employer being asked about references should never do anything other than verify the position, their duties, how long they worked with you, and what their salary was. So at termination. So the reason you want to check references is 2 things. One is, at the end of the resume, it may say references available upon request, and they may give you those references. Those are personal references. If Elizabeth and I are best buds and we've worked together for 10 years and I say, Elizabeth, I'm leaving. And she says, okay. And I say, hey, can I put you? She says, yeah, of course. She's going to sing a great song for me because she loves me. We're best friends. We go out and have wine and whatnot. The reality of it is you're getting a good idea from the character references, the personal ones, but I'm talking about calling their previous employers. I cannot tell you how many times dentists don't do it. And guess what? There's an embezzlement. There's a stealing of drugs. There's a stealing of the scripts, whatever it is. And I'll say, hey, did you check her references? No, I didn't. I know I should. I don't know. She just seemed really nice. He seemed really good. Please, please, please check references. I can't express it enough. The other thing is, it's really important that you, in my opinion, again, I'm always good for an opinion. It's really important that you do background checks. When you're checking personal references, you want to ask, what's your acquaintance with the applicant? How long have you known Mary? What qualities does she have that you admire? what, if you had to say a shortcoming of her, what would it be? You're hoping to hear she's too critical on herself versus, well, she kind of gets lazy. References, do's and don'ts. So when again, you can't go into any of this, but you can ask the dentist if they would rehire. Background checks. Really, I can't tell you how many times I've had doctors say to me, you're kidding, right? I got to do it. How much is it? What? And now I don't do background checks, so I don't know the prices of them. All I know is they are worth their weight in gold. They are worth their weight in gold. Again, hate to reiterate, but these people that work your front desk are anywhere from, dealing with, even if it's $250,000 to over $1 million. That's a lot of your money that you're just trusting in someone's hands. I have been involved in one of the largest cases in Illinois history on embezzlement. I've been involved in a lot of embezzlement. I've uncovered a lot of embezzlement. The reality of it is background checks do they absolutely, foolproof that you're never going to be embezzled on? No, but there definitely is some help there. It protects your employees by getting a criminal background check. What is going on with this person that you're hiring? You don't want to hire a psycho person. It protects your patients. Those patients, their social security, their all their information. There's a lot of data that can be stolen that you would be liable, and it reduces your liability. And lastly, it's a peace of mind. It's a great peace of mind. So negotiating the compensation package. Are you going to give insurance? Is it going to be a stipend? If you're a startup, we typically recommend in startups, don't offer, it's hard to offer benefits, full blown benefits. You can give vacation, you can give holidays, you can tell them that your intention is to be able to start paying for a stipend for their medical after a year, once you see how things are going, or 6 months. Ideally, if there's a range, you want to kind of go somewhere between the low to the mid with a 90-day performance review. So you're going to say to them, I hope you understand. I know that, I believe that you're worth $50,000 a year. I have no doubt. But I'd like to start you at 48. I'd like to do a 90-day review. At that point, if I see that everything you've said, you're spot on, I have no problem bumping you to that level or somewhere in between. Make sure that you have a welcome letter that defines their job responsibilities, their benefits, their insurance, their uniforms, their days, their hours, their compensation. You should have an office policy manual that they sign on that first day. So that would be next. There's lots of documentation. If you're in the state of California or any state, but particularly California is probably a stickler on, they are more employee friendly than they are employer friendly. For instance, I have a client in Kansas. Kansas law does not require the dentist to give them a lunch hour, period. They don't have to. They don't have to have breaks. They don't have to have a lunch hour. I mean, when I first read it, I was like, what? Is this for real? So there's lots of AR records. I would recommend H for Health. I don't have stock in their company. I just see that they treat my clients really good. So now let's talk about performance reviews. They've been there. Now we got to do a performance review. How do we do that? One is, I think, sometimes their confidence level is busting through the roof, right? They're like, I am rocking it. I am so good. And they're ready for their performance review. And you're kind of down at the bottom, like, it's fair. I'm not thinking they're rocking my world. So I think that, let me just open up. I want to show you some of the performance reviews. So bear with me here. So there's several different ones that I have, but this one is a one that I think, let me go back. Sorry. Here and there. Okay. You should all be able to see my screen, I think. Okay, so this would be a clinical one. And this is, you basically fill out their name, period of time that you're doing the review for, and you base it based on, is it outstanding? Is it very good? Is it average, below average, or unsatisfactory? So keep in mind this ranking system is how you're going to go all the way through the document. At the end of the document, you're going to go back and you're going to come back in, you're going to give them the overall ranking of where they base it. So absentee and tardiness, works required days, work required hours, reports to work on time, returns. So you're going to rank it. I would urge you, if you go through these evaluations and every person you evaluate is a 1, outstanding, they are going to want a raise. And they probably should deserve a raise. If you think they're excellent and there's 0 room for improvement, when I'm in the public and I am lecturing at dental meetings or state meetings or whatever, anywhere where I'm giving an evaluation, I say to them, hey, I would love to get great kudos, Jean. You did an excellent job. Don't get me wrong. But I know that there's always room to improve. You know, one time I did a lecture, I said the word hell. Oh, this girl gave me a great review. You're the best thing ever. And then she got to the word that, and she ripped into me and said, I was offended. I think you it's like a curse word. And I was like, wow, I'm so sorry. Attitude, exhibits a positive attitude, shows initiative, demonstrates dependability, accepts direction from qualified sources, displays commitment and involvement, interacts well with coworkers. And then their learning ability. How do they apply instructions? Do they understand it? Do they know it and apply it? General job skills. What's their knowledge of their work, their quality and quantity, their problem solving skills, their communication. On management, they may not be in a management position, so you may put NA, not applicable during here, or they may. Some of it, displays the ability and judgment to make good decisions. You've told me to go the wrong direction and go to the hygiene room when I needed to go here and numb up a patient first. You're not making good judgments for me. You're sending me on a wild goose chase. Then leadership, if they're in any leadership, do they successfully motivate other employees? And then clinical, and you can customize this any way you want. Like, hey, what are their clinical skills? Where are they at? And again, you can do it any way you want. Then the major areas of weaknesses pinpointed by this appraisal, what are they? You address, what are they weak in? And you better sure as heck give them reasons or suggestions for improvement. So you take the first weakness and you say, what would I want them to do differently? Major areas of strength, what is it? And what would you want them to do differently? So that is that. So let me then get back to this. Okay, so those are things. I think the biggest mistake that I hear from most employees is that they don't get reviewed. Every doctor feels that if I review someone, guess what? Once I review them, I got to give them a raise. And dentists are notorious for every year I give a review and every year I give $1 raise. That is such a bad way to do it. You don't want to do that. You want to review them and you want to make it clear with your staff. Just because you're due for a performance review does not mean you're due for a compensation review. And when you're doing a compensation review, that's a whole nother animal. There's another sheet where you have to put down, what are they making? What are you paying in uniforms and taxes and benefits and holidays? All of that. So I may think I'm getting $28 an hour, but it's costing you as a provider, as an owner of the business, $32 an hour. They need to know that. Okay. So I'm offering, again, as I have, but just wanted to throw it out there. If you want a complimentary consultation, email me. You can get, that includes a baseline analysis. Okay, so let's take some QAs. If it's a 3-day-a-week practice, I'm assuming 3 days practice, do you recommend to offer benefits for vacation? What do you suggest to give as benefits? So believe it or not, there's all sorts of benefits you can give, right? Well, we all should be giving dental benefits. That's a given. Like, why not? It's free. You can do it. So dental benefits for them for sure, and their spouse and their children. If they have insurance, insurance only or whatever you want to do. If it's a 3-day-a-week practice, and I'm assuming if it's a startup as an example, or a practice that's slower and your employees are part-time, I would urge you to have one full-time person there. So in startups, I encourage the startup doctor to work 2.5 days, 3 days a week to pay their bills for home at their associateship position, then work 2.5, 3 days a week at their office. But you should have someone there 5 days a week, answering the phone, sitting at the desk, being there all the time. And so in answer to your question, I would say that on a 3-day-a-week part-time, I would not necessarily offer a full week's vacation, but you may say 3 days of vacation, or you may say once you're at full-time, we will give you vacation. Usually benefits apply to full-time, but you own the business. You can have it apply to whoever you want, whenever you want. What other suggestions for benefits? Some other suggestions for benefits might be a uniform allowance. That's a benefit. The dental benefits, that's a benefit. On a 3-day-a-week practice, that would be about it. You might want to, a benefit is that I will pay for your admission into the state dental meeting. You will take courses. You're going to have, I literally am having doctors call me to say, should I be giving hazard pay? And it's like, are you kidding? No, you're not an ER doctor. They're not ER nurses. No, you shouldn't be giving hazard pay. You don't have any money. How can you be paying what you don't have? So, okay, next question. Xander, how many employees should I have before I hire an office manager? So Xander, it's not always the number of employees you have. It's really, what are you doing? So in other words, if you're doing all your accounts payable on QuickBooks or longhand, and you're working every spare minute of the day because you're working 4 or 5 days a week with patients, and then you're working on the weekend, you have no time for your family, I would be more apt to say to you, hey, you know what, Xander, I think you should hire a bookkeeper to pay your accounts payable. And that'd be once a week or every other week that they'd come in and pay your bills. That would help you more. You never, let me repeat this, you never, ever, ever give anyone access to your checkbook other than your bookkeeper. Like a front desk person would never have access to your checkbook or anything pertaining to your checking account, access to it, or signing checks. Hope that answered your question, Xander. If I didn't, it's too hard to say it's this amount of employees that would constitute an office manager. It's your breaking level. It's where you're at. It's, are you being inundated with HR? Do you not have an HR system in place? And that's why you're being inundated versus going online to HR, like with an HR for health type system. Okay, next question is, can I have access to yesterday's webinar? It will be posted on my YouTube, so you can go there. If you would subscribe, that would be a very nice gift you would give me. It's free, it doesn't cost you anything. Even if you don't subscribe, the webinar will be there and it'll be posted. So yes, it will be there. Give us about a day, usually after the webinars, to get them posted. It takes a long time to download it, to get it to the next spot. Is a background check legal? Yes, you can give, you have to tell them, I would recommend that you talk with your HR attorney or go on HR for Health, type in that question, they may be able to answer that. Yes, it is legal to do a criminal background check, especially if they are dealing with money or drugs or, patient's personal information. To my knowledge, it is. If you find out otherwise, Teresa, you can let me know. I don't know what Canada's rules are on that. Is there an agency that does the background check? Yes, there is. Elizabeth, I'm going to unmute you. Do you remember what I told the doctor this morning?
I don't remember, but I actually have some paperwork that I can pull up now. And to answer the question, yes, it is completely legal to do a background check. And actually you have to if you're going to be dealing with any children or elders. So you have to do a background check.
The other thing is you have to check your own state guidelines as well. Let me just pull up. I do have an email from, let me see. I have an email from this morning in regards to that. I hope I do. Here it is. Is that it? No. Sorry. I'm not finding it, guys. Sorry. If you email me, I'll get it to you. Okay. The other question is, how can we do background checks? How much do they cost? I don't know what they cost. You'll have to look into that. There is a company for it. If you email me at my email, which is below here, you can, I'll make sure I get it to you. I'll email you the name of the company and you can do the check. As you all know, I'm a huge lover of these polls. It would make my Friday if we could get everyone that's on the line to just answer these questions. It's easy, it's simple, it's awesome. I think we've got time to do it. Please, this would be your Friday gift to Jean. Who are you? Are you a dentist, an associate, a hygienist, an RDA, a DA, an office manager, or an administrator? How many, my office is open with a reduced staff by X number of people, 1 to 2, 3 to 5, 6 or more. My office, feel free, you can start clicking as I'm reading. My office is not open and not seeing patients, true or false. I have lost a staff member because of COVID, true or false. I am looking to hire a new team member due to COVID, true or false. I am nervous about my job, not wanting to go back to work, yes or no. That's if you have any staff on the line. I am making more on unemployment than working in the office, true or false. So please feel free, start clicking. I'm assuming you can all see it. We're getting a little bit of clicks, albeit slow. I'll give you some time. Just go ahead and answer, and I'm going to answer a chat while you're doing that. There we go. So Elizabeth has one company, and then there's another company as well. Elizabeth, let me just go do this. Let's see here. Okay, so there is trpassociates.net. There's also, I want to say, I'll get it to you. It's another one that was recommended by HR for Health. So keep going on the answering. We'll let it go a little bit longer. Right now we have about 71% dentist on the line, but still rising. Great. Office managers, don't be mad at me. It's not that I don't think they should ever hire an office manager. It's just that sometimes they give that title out when it's really, there's no one to manage. If you have one assistant, one hygienist, one doctor. Okay, 63% of you said that your office is open with a reduced staff by about 1 to 2. 22% of you said your staff is reduced by 6 or more. 11%, keep answering please, is 3 to 5. My office is not open and not seeing patients, true or false? 56% of you said that's true. 44% of you said that's false. I have lost a staff member because of COVID-19. 11% said true. 89% said false. Awesome. I am looking to hire a new team member due to COVID-19. 33% of you said true. 67% of you said false, and that's rising. And then I am nervous about my job, not wanting to go back to work. 22% of you said yes. 78% of you said no. I am making more on unemployment than working in the office. 20% of you said true. 80% of you said false. Okay, let's see here. Our doctor number went to 70% are doctors, 30% are associates, DAs is 1, and office managers is 10%. DAs is 10%, sorry. So still going here. 60% of you have seen the effect of being down by 1 or 2 staff members. 30% of you are 6 or more staff members. My office is not open and not seeing patients. 60% of you said that's true. I have lost a staff member. Only 10% of you said you have lost it. But then again, only 60% of you, 40% of you are open. So, all right, 90% of you, I have lost a staff member because of COVID. 90% of you said that's false. I am looking to hire a new team member. 70% of you said, no, you're not. 30% of you said you are. 70% of you said that you're nervous, that you're not nervous about going back to work. So I'll go ahead and end the polling and I'll share it. There may be a couple of
Gina,
other, yes?
yeah, it looks like there's a couple more questions for you.
Yep, I see that. Thank you.
Mhm.
If staff have been let go because of their hesitation to return to work, how to explain to patients reason for new staff turnover? Well, first of all, you have to be really, really careful about staff being let go because their hesitation to return to work. I would not be firing people because they're not returning to work. You need to probably get on HR for Health. There is a ton of webinars on there. There is a webinar that I have on mine from an HR attorney, Aliyah Ramshian, that goes into a lot of this. So I would urge you to read it. Can you talk a little bit about a bonus system for employees? Sure. On the survey, it would not let me progress on my question if the office is open with the limited staff unless I marked something. Okay, my office is closed and only seeing emergencies with doctor and assistant. Okay, thank you, Patty. Can you talk about a bonus system? I sure can. What would that look like? Okay, well, first of all, I'm not saying that I'm against bonuses. I'm not. But I can tell you this. A bonus system is based on your overhead, in my opinion. It has to be based on what does it cost you to keep the doors open. If your overhead is at 70% and you're not taking home 30%, that's a problem. There's doctors that are giving bonuses and they're not even taking home money themselves, or they're not even maximizing their retirement. They're not even putting any contributions into their retirement. I have a real issue with giving bonuses if the job of the staff member isn't being done. What do I mean? If we have openings in hygiene and my responsibility is to fill the hygiene schedule, and we have an issue with past due patients, now under the current situation, totally understandable. So please, maybe that's a poor example. I'm responsible for collections and I have a huge AR and I'm not collecting what I need to collect, and I have outstanding insurance over 90 days and over 60 days, and my outstanding AR is way more than it should be. Why in God's name should I get a bonus for not even doing my job? That's a problem. A bonus is based on the team doing their job, doing it the right way with the systems that are the right way to do it. So there is standard operating procedures for everything. I gave you our patient retention number should be above 85%, meaning every patient that leaves should be scheduling. Our AR should be less than 1 month of production. Our collection should be 98% or better. Those are industry standards. If the staff is not abiding by that and the systems aren't working good, there's a gap. Most of the times the gap is that you haven't trained the team. So we can't blame the staff. The staff has never been trained, but we expect them to do something differently. Well, then how can you fault them and say, you're not going to get a bonus, or I'm not going to do a bonus because you're not doing your job? Well, you never told me what my job was. I don't have a job description. I don't have a job role. That's a common thing. So I am pro bonus. I am pro bonus, but it's not only based on collections. That's one way, of course, but there has to be other criteria met first. Many of my offices have great bonus systems that I put into place. So again, I'm not opposed to a bonus, but I am opposed to a bonus to get someone to do their job. If your job description says you need to make sure the doctor's scheduled full and you're not keeping it full, I have a problem with that. Like, why should I bonus you now to hope that you're going to do your job now? That doesn't make sense to me. Hope that answered your question. Okay. Any other questions? Any other comments? I know we ran a little bit over. Again, I would love to have you follow me on my social media, Facebook, Instagram. I love kind of communicating online with that. Also, if you want any help with any types of talks or consultations, it's complimentary, and always a baseline analysis comes with that. So thank you. Have a great weekend. Be safe, be healthy, and talk to you soon. Take care. There is one chat. Oh, thank you. Thank you, Sarah. All right. Thanks, everyone. Have a good day. Look, one more QA. Thank you. Miriam. Thanks, Miriam. Okay. Take care, everyone. Have a good weekend. Bye now.